are you?
Yeah. I was in the back. I was doing some yard work, and I lost track of time, baby.
Hey, man. Too busy sending texts, making fun of me and Josh in our little interview from earlier. Is that what it was?
I wasn't making fun of Josh. I was just making fun of you because clearly he had to say nice things when in reality we know he was full of crap there.
Okay, so speaking of having to say nice things and maybe being full of crap, my first question was about his relationship with Mike Vrabel and now working with him, and now they have a week of game planning and game reaction under their belts. He said he loves it, great relationship, great coach, the whole thing. Where do you think that relationship is? Because a lot of us outsiders think it might have been kind of a forced marriage.
I think they're still learning each other. Like, I mean, but I'm seriously, we Vrabel talked. I don't remember if it was the spring or early in the. It might have been early in the summertime, and he was asked like, "How come you're spending so much time like with the offense?" And he's like, "Well, I'm trying to learn the offense. I'm trying to see what Josh sees and how he sees it and what he wants to do and how that affects my quarterback and the rest of the group." So I think there's still sort of a feeling out process. You know, there's a lot of familiar names back here, but it doesn't mean all the familiar names are put together. So I think they're still in that sort of area where what buttons can I push here? What am I doing it the way he wants it done? You know, I think they're not quite there yet. It'll take some time.
Hey, Mike, what did you think of just the game plan, how Drake May played, how Josh played them, kind of how they, made adjustments or didn't make adjustments, just your overall thoughts on Josh's game plan for the first game of the season?
Well, if your offensive line doesn't move anybody, then it's going to be hard to run the ball with any effectiveness. And, I mean, I'll give the Raiders credit because they weren't running it very well, but they didn't necessarily completely abandon it in the second half. Then again, they had the lead for most of the second half, so kind of allowed them to play with that. I think that ended up being too much on Drake's shoulders. And I don't think that's what they wanted to do. If you had asked me last week, what's the one thing I'm sure that the offense will be able to do against the Raiders, I would have said they'll be able to run the ball effectively. And they couldn't, so that put it all on Drake. And as far as how he played, there were pockets of good, there were pockets of not so good, and in the end it kind of ended up as just kind of a meh type game. And if they're going to win more than they lose, let's face it, he's got to play better than that.
Yeah, I can't imagine the game plan was to throw 3 passes for every one rush play last week. Like, Mike, it looks like the game script got out of hand pretty quick. Speaking of this week, though, turning over for a fresh game script, how would you expect the Patriots to open this week against a Miami team that has given them fits for years, and Tua has never lost to them, but at the same time looked worse than the Pats last week?
Well, I think we all believe that this Miami team is sort of teetering. You know, that was the worst performance of any football team in the league last year. They got to be 32nd in everybody's power rankings. They made Daniel Jones look awesome, which hasn't happened very often. They scored on all 7 possessions. Again, that doesn't happen very often. Bills did that to the Patriots a few years ago. So what kind of team are we going to get with Miami? And so to me, forget
Michael.
So let's punch him in the face. Am I still there? Hello?
Yeah, you are now.
Hello?
Yes. Okay. Yep, you're good.
Yeah, you kind of are going in and out a little bit.
Stop moving. Stay in
I don't
one
know
good
where you're
spot.
at, but
See, outside yard always works. Now today not working. What I was saying was basically like punch them in the face because you don't know. This team feels like they're teetering. So go after them. Don't give them any sort of hope in this game. Make them look at each other and go, this season's it's already gone to hell, and cave right there. But if you let them hang around, home field, the heat, the whole thing, the history, then it starts to add up, and then you're in a game in the fourth quarter that you don't want to be in.
Mike Giardi, Boston Sports Journal, here with us on WEEI Afternoons. Mike, I'm going to ask this question of every football guest until I get an answer I like. What the hell is going on with Christian Gonzalez?
There was a setback. I mean, they haven't said it. I mean, Mike sort of said it a couple weeks ago without saying it, but there's no question. They believed and they let everybody know that's in with their their management group that he'll be fine for week 1. He'll be fine for week 1, and then all of a sudden you got to maybe post Minnesota and those joint practices, and then it was I don't know, maybe this is lingering, and so now we're at a point where hasn't practiced since July 28th. I don't know. You hope next Wednesday he's out to practice, but at this point I couldn't tell you whether he will be or not.
The hamstring to Christian Gonzalez, and I just think Terrell Williams taking some time for some personal things are just, a couple of things that you just really aren't looking for. Obviously, things happen. You can't control life, but that you just really weren't expecting. What do you think the impact of not having Terrell Williams out there calling plays? Do you think Zach Kerr comes in with a completely different style? Like, what do you see in the defensive play calling now that Terrell Williams isn't there? And do you think him not being there is going to impact the defense that much?
Well, I had Dev McCourty on my podcast yesterday, and I asked him, I said, does it really matter who's in your ear? He was a green dot guy, and he's like, oh, absolutely it matters, because some guys don't
son of a
call, and you're like, I don't really like that play call. And so if you feel that way, a certain way about a player, about a coach and what he's calling, Devin said there were times where'd be like, oh, I couldn't hear you, and I called something else. So I don't know if they have anybody on their team that feels that way that would do that, but that's certainly something to keep in mind. And I would just say if they go completely different than what we saw against the Raiders, then what does that say about the job Terrell did? Or I don't know. That would be odd to me. I don't think they want to blitz 43% of the time. I don't think they want to do that. So I think that'll be different. But I would think in general they're still going to be aggressive and they're still going to try to get after Tua.
Mike, I'm sure you heard earlier this week, Kayshon Boutte reminded the assembled media, I'm not sure if you were in the locker room at the time or not, that he was at one point a number one wide receiver. Certainly played like one last week, and Curran and others have pumped his tires this offseason. So do you believe that Kayshon Boutte has what it takes to be a number one wide receiver on this team?
No. But he's far better than I thought. No, but he's far better than I thought he was going to be. I'm the guy who, when the whole gambling thing came up after his rookie year was basically shelved, I was like, why are you keeping him? There's no point to this. This is not – he was immature at LSU. They were happy to get rid of him. He's not built for this. And then to his credit, he came back in year two, had a really good camp, and was fairly reliable. This year in camp, he was better than he was last year. So, he seems to have gotten the message. I have the physical talents to play in this league. Now I just have to match the maturity and the work ethic to it. So I don't want to put a cap on what it is, but to me, he's become at least a good number three for a good football team. And that, where I was with him 2 years ago or even last year going into the summer, I would never have said that.
Mike, before we let you go, a lot of people are sort of painting this as a must-win game for both teams, both 0-1. Desperate Dolphins team that's having players-only meetings and everything that goes into that. How do you see this game playing out? Do the Patriots get to 1-1, or is it, oh my God, we suck again come Monday?
I fear the latter.
Oh,
and it's not because I'm still sticking with the 7-8 wins. I think I picked 8 for the Boston Sports Journal when we did our final preview, and I don't think that that's still out of reach. They're not there yet. I think they're learning each other. I think one of the things that a very wise man who's worked with quarterback said to me, he goes, all you guys want to fast forward the whole quarterback development thing. Everybody's to jump out in front in year one. They go through growing pains in year two. I think we're seeing some of that with Drake. You got a whole new system. And I'm not trying to make excuses for him, but I think this is the process, and I think they're not close to being where they're going to be when the season ends.
Okay, that's Mike Giardi, Boston Sports Journal. Bad phone, and he's saying he doesn't feel great about Sunday. So fix your phone, and hopefully the Patriots will fix their game on Sunday, and we'll talk to you next week, Mike.